I want you to be aware that we will submit documentation showing the state the location that you want to use for your dealer's license is zoned appropriately. Here is an example of an Albuquerque zoning certification. Whatever city or county that you are in, then you'll need to get some type of zoning certification from your city hall or your county courthouse. And this will show the Dealer Licensing Bureau that the location that you're using for your license is zoned properly. This is one document that you will need to submit before you apply for your dealer's license, so please do keep that in mind. The next requirement we're going to talk about is what's known as your dealer surety bond. Most dealers will be required to obtain a $50,000 dealer surety bond. And if you think a $50,000 dealer surety bond is going to cost you $50,000, luckily you're incorrect. Your bond price is going to be based on your credit score. The better your credit, the lower your bond price. The worse your credit, the higher your bond price. If you're going to get a retail dealer's license, a wholesale dealer's license, a distributor's license, or an auto recycler's license, or title service company license, you will need a $50,000 dealer surety bond. However, if you're only going to sell motorcycles, you'll only need a $12,500 dealer surety bond. I want to cover your dealer surety bond requirements. Your dealer surety bond must be continuous and may not expire during your dealer license period. Your dealer surety bond must match the business name exactly, and you must submit the original dealer surety bond along with what's known as the power of attorney. You are not required to obtain an additional bond to become an auto recycler or a motorcycle dealer. You can also get a motorcycle dealer license without an additional dealer surety bond. If you are not comfortable getting a bond, then you can actually deposit the equivalent amount of cash in a New Mexico bank, but you would need to submit proof of that. I want you to be aware the Automobile Dealer Training Association has built a bond quoting system that will send your bond quote to one of over 30 carriers based on your credit score. The system will determine your credit score and send your bond quote to the bond carrier that matches your credit score the best. I also want you to know that if you do obtain your dealer surety bond through this quoting system, the Automobile Dealer Training Association will receive a small commission. So if you would like to get your quick and easy bond quote, you can go to nmdealerbond.com. Once again, that is nmdealerbond.com. So you can enter your business name. Even if you have not registered that business name, you can enter a business name now and get a real quick bond quote. Here you will need to enter your business entity, and we're going to talk about business entities here in just a little while. And on the next screen, since you're starting a business, you're going to click on the little button that says New Business. So you're going to go ahead and enter your phone number here, your best email address like you see right here, and then you'll enter your business address, and you could change that later on if you don't currently have a location, but this is just going to give you a general idea of what your bond is going to cost. In order to provide you with an accurate bond quote, you will be required to enter your social security number, and this will allow the association's bond quoting system to perform a real quick soft credit check, and it will not affect your credit score. That soft credit check is necessary for an accurate pricing for your dealer surety bond. And here you see on the screen approximately what your bond is going to cost depending on your credit score. So if you have excellent credit, which is going to be over 739, your bond is going to be about $250 a year. If you choose to make monthly payments, it would be about $25 a month. If your credit score is between, say, for example, 629 and 648, your bond will run around $525 a year, or you can make payments of $53 a month. Let's go ahead and jump down here to the 600 credit score range. If your credit score is between 600 and 618, your bond will cost about $1,000 a year, and you can certainly make payments on that as well. As you get down to the lower credit scores, you can see the bond prices do go up. However, even with a high bond price, you can easily make payments on those. So if for some reason your credit has a few blemishes on it, I'm going to strongly encourage you to go ahead and open this business and get your bond. And once your business is established, anytime your credit score goes up, your future bond prices will go down upon renewal. So I predict that you are just going to be, making a small portion of your profits to pay for your bond every month. So even if you got a really bad credit score, I still strongly encourage you to consider making payments on your bond and go ahead and get your dealer's license. So if you would like that bond quote, you can go ahead and purchase that bond if you like the price on your bond quote. And this is what your bond is going to look like. This is the first page, which is known as your official dealer surety bond. I want you to be aware that one of the most common mistakes that dealers make when they apply for their license is they do not sign the bond. So the first thing you want to do is sign your bond. And here you see the second page of your bond, which is going to be pre-populated, and it's referred to as your power of attorney. I want to make sure you're very clear. This is a 2-page document, and both pages must be submitted with your dealer license application. You must sign the first page of the dealer surety bond and submit the second page, which is going to be pre-populated, and it's referred to as your power of attorney. So make sure that you submit both pages to the state when you're applying for your license. A very common mistake is when someone forgets to sign the bond. So please do not forget to sign your bond. Once again, if you would like to get a quote through the Automobile Dealer Association's quoting system, you can go to nmdealerbond.com. Once again, that's nmdealerbond.com, or you can go to your favorite search engine and enter New Mexico Dealer Surety Bond and get a quote from another company as well. The next step we're going to cover is how to easily obtain your employer identification number, your EIN. Your employer identification number will show the state that you're going to pay taxes on your newfound income with this business. And I don't want to be the bearer of bad news, but when you start making more money, when you've gotten your dealer's license, then you're going to be paying more taxes. And we're going to cover that extensively later on in the course. So to show the state that you're going to pay your taxes on your monthly income, you're going to need an employer identification number, or what we refer to as an EIN. I have seen companies that charge $600, more than $700 even, to get your EIN for you. And if you want to go ahead and pay a company to do that for you, that's fine. But I want to show you how to get your employer identification number directly on the IRS website at no charge. And this is also known as a federal tax ID number. Before we get started, if you have any questions, you can call the IRS directly at 800-829-4933. And that's the number you can call if you have any questions about obtaining your EIN. And later in the course, I'm also going to give you some local IRS numbers. The state does have, the IRS does have offices throughout the state. So I'll give you that contact information here in a little bit. But right now, I want to show you how to get your employer identification number right on the IRS website. So once you go to the IRS website, you'll just scroll down to where it says Apply for Employer Identification Number, or EIN, and you're going to click that little link right there. You can read the overview there if you need to, or just click the Begin Application button. And on this page, you will need to choose your business entity. And we are going to cover business entities extensively later on in your dealer training course. For this training scenario, I'm going to show you how to get your employer identification number as a limited liability company, or LLC. I'm not telling you that you need to be an LLC. I'm just showing you, as a training scenario, how you would do this if your business is an LLC, but you can certainly select your correct business entity on the screen there. On this screen, you're going to enter the number of persons on your business that's on the LLC, and you're obviously going to be in the state of New Mexico, so you need to enter that information here, then click the Continue box, and the IRS wants to know why you need an EIN, because you are starting a new business. On this screen, you'll need to enter the name of one person on the license, and you will also need to enter the Social Security number of one person as well. And at the bottom, you're going to select one if you are one of the owners. So I'm assuming that you are. If a third-party company is doing this for you, you would select that you were a third party. But since you're probably doing it on your own, go ahead and select that you are one of the owners. And here you're going to enter the address of your dealership along with your phone number. And you do have the opportunity to send a mail forwarding address as well. And on this screen, you're going to enter some information about your dealership. So you're going to enter your dealership name, your DBA, and that's what you're doing business as, along with the county that your dealership is in. And your dealership will obviously be located here in the state of New Mexico. And if you live in New Mexico, you'll enter New Mexico as a state. So if you live in New Mexico, you will enter New Mexico twice. Then you'll enter the approximate start date. And I would recommend entering the month that you're actually applying for your EIN. So make sure that corresponds correctly. And now you're going to see a screen that looks just like this, and you're going to click that little Continue button, and then you will see your new Federal Employer Identification Number. So you're going to see your dealership name and address towards the top of this document, and at the very far top right of this form, you're going to find your new Employer Identification Number. And you're going to need to record that number because it's the one that you're going to use on your taxes next year. And you'll also need to show the state that you have an EIN when you're applying for your dealer license. So there are companies that will charge several hundreds of dollars to show you how to get this EIN that I just showed you how to do with a few clicks of the mouse for free. So hopefully this will save you a little bit of money when you are applying for your employer identification number. If you do have any questions about your EIN, you can call the IRS directly at 800-829-4933, or you can always go right to their website, which is irs.gov. In order to apply for a New Mexico dealer's license, you will need a New Mexico tax ID number. This number is required before you apply for your license, and you're going to be able to apply for this at the New Mexico Taxpayer Access Point. That's called TAP. And this is going to be located at tap.state.nm.us, and there are companies that will charge exorbitant fees for this, so I'm going to show you how to do it right on the TAP website. I'm going to show you how easy it is to get your state tax ID number. And so what we're going to do, right now we're on the New Mexico Taxation and Revenue website. And over there to the right of the screen, at the bottom of the page, you're going to scroll down under the business section and click on Apply for New Mexico Business Tax ID, like you see right here. On this page, you will see an overview of everything that you're going to need to apply for the license. You are going to need a valid email address and your federal employment identification number. So chronologically, I want you to be aware that you'll need to get your employer identification number from the IRS before you get your state tax ID number. So make sure you have your EIN before you get your state tax ID number, because you cannot get a state tax ID number without getting the employer identification number in advance. You'll need all the business owner's information, not just yours, but anyone else that's going to be on your license. And once you have that information ready, you can apply for your New Mexico tax ID number. When you're ready to apply for your tax ID number, you'll click that bottom button at the bottom right of the screen. And the first thing you're going to do is enter your business type or your business entity, and then you enter your federal employment identification number. So as I stated a moment ago, you need the EIN before you apply for your New Mexico tax ID. You're going to enter all of your contact information, and at the bottom you will be required to create a username and password. So make sure and record all of your username and passwords. On this screen, you are going to need to add an officer of the business. So you'll click that little Add Officer button that you see right there, and then you're going to enter your ID, your social security number, and your title. In the last line, the state wants to know also if you have a liquor license or contractor license or marketplace license, as you see right here. So you would select any of these that might possibly apply to you. Now the state wants to know what your NAICS code is going to be. Now, NAICS code for used motor vehicle dealers is going to be 441120. And you can certainly easily memorize that number, maybe jot it down. But if you don't remember that, you can just click on the Find Code button, and it's going to find that code for you. So just make sure that you click Used Motor Vehicle Dealers on there. So I want to make sure that you're very aware, if you do need to record this number, the Used Motor Vehicle Dealer NAICS code is going to be 441120. And now you're almost done, as you can see right here on the screen. So you can watch your progress along the top of the screen there, and you're going to need to make sure and enter your name and the title and the date. And this just is going to confirm that the information that you're sending is true and correct. And now you're going to see a confirmation that your submission has been submitted. And if you do have any questions, you see that phone number there, you can call 866-285-2996, or you can send an email to that email address that you see right there on your screen. It's a pretty long one there, but you can certainly jot that one down as well. Come time, if you have any questions, they will get answers back to you really, really quick. So one thing I have noticed, when you are asking the state sales tax type questions, they get back with you pretty quickly, because that's revenue for the state. Once you've created your login information, you can easily log in to your taxpayer access point. That's your TAP account. I'm going to show you how to do that right now. This is your TAP account page that you see right here. And as you scroll through here, this is what's called your TAP dashboard. You know, and I want to bring your attention to a really couple important parts of this page that you see right here. At the very top left, you'll see your New Mexico tax ID number. So if you ever need to refer to your tax ID number, you can log right into your TAP account. I'm definitely going to recommend that you record this tax ID number, because you are going to need it when you apply for your dealer's license here in just a little bit. On the screen, you will actually see your registration certificate. So this is your new tax ID number, and you want to make sure and display this in your office at all times. So make sure and display this, make a couple of copies of this, but you definitely want to make sure that you are displaying this in your office at all times. If you have any questions whatsoever about how to get your tax ID number or any other taxation questions, 866-285-2996, or you can send an email as you see right there, and they will definitely answer all of the questions that you might have about obtaining your tax ID number. Next, I want to show you how to register your business with the New Mexico Secretary of State. The New Mexico Secretary of State wants a record of the dealership that you're getting ready to start. And this registration is going to be required for most dealers, and it will take just a few moments online to do this. And I want you to also be aware you will need to renew your Secretary of State filing every year. If you have any questions about business entities or how to file, you can call 505-827-3600 and click option 1. You can also send an email to business.services@sos.nm.gov. And what we're going to do, we're going to go to the specific website for businesses under the Secretary of State. And this is a newly developed website, enterprise.sos.nm.gov. enterprise.sos.nm.gov. And I'll try and keep those website addresses at the bottom of the screen on several of these screenshots for you. When you go to enterprise.sos.nm.gov, you're going to click on the blue Start Now button, like you see here, and you will create a user account. So once again, you want to record your username and passwords, enter your contact information, including your dealership address. And the easiest way to apply for your license is make sure that you do have your address ready to go, and that way you won't ever have to amend any of these filings. So when you have your actual dealership address ready to go is when I would recommend to go ahead and start the registration process with the Secretary of State and other website resources as well. You're going to create a username and password, so make sure you're recording those username and passwords, and then you're going to get a real quick confirmation. And so it's a very important part of this process right here when you're registering the Secretary of State is to find a name for your business that's not currently being used by another business in the state. So we're going to do what's called a business search, and you're going to need to type in the exact name that you want to use to make sure another business in the state is not using that exact name. So for this example, I typed in New Mexico Motors. And you can see there are some variations of that name, but it appears at the time that this video is being recorded that that name is available. So if that name was not available, you would see on the screen that you could not reserve that name. Once you have found the name that you want to use and it is not being used by another business in the state, then you can go ahead and register that name. So I'm going to show you how to do this as an LLC once again, just for a training scenario. I'm not telling you need to be an LLC. That's, you might want to get some legal advice on that. But if you were an LLC, then you would just click that little link right there that says domestic. That means a state-based LLC. You would enter your contact information, enter the date, and the purpose of your business. I'm assuming that you're going to be selling used motor vehicles. And you can see at the very top of the screen there in just a little bit, you're going to be charged a $50 filing fee. And that price could always change, but that's what the price is at the time that I'm recording this video for you. The state could change that price at a future date. Now you're going to need to create what's called your agent. This is the agent that you're going to have to use must live in the state of New Mexico. And you can act as your own agent. So if you live in the state, if you want to be your own agent, you can certainly do that. If you live in another state and you're opening a dealership here in the state of New Mexico, then you're going to need to have a state-based registered agent that will act as your agent. So you'll enter that information there. And as you see here, you're just going to verify all your information. Enter on this screen whether you are managed or member managed LLC. And if you ever have questions on those categories, you can certainly contact the state and they will certainly answer questions. And as you see right here, we're halfway done. So you can always watch your progress bar there at the very top of the screen. Next, you're going to have to enter what is called your signed statement of acceptance. And I'm going to click on this form right here so you can easily complete this form. And there are two portions to this form, and you're going to need to complete this form and then upload it back into the Secretary of State's website. So if you're going to act as your own registered agent, you can enter the first box and just enter that contact information there. Now, if you're going to have a corporation, or if your LLC will be the official registered agent, then you would enter it into the next box. I want to repeat that. If you're just going to act as an individual as your registered agent, like you yourself is going to be the registered agent, you can do that. Or if you prefer, if you are a corporation or an LLC, you can have that corporation or LLC act as your registered agent as well. I want to remind you, you're only going to complete one of these two boxes that will best correspond to you. So then you scan that document back on your computer and you're going to upload it through the Secretary of State website. And this is a requirement for all business entities. So you can just verify that information like you see right here. And then you'll scroll through step by step and it will walk you through the entire process. So you just want to make sure and double check all the information that you see right here on your verification screen. Scroll down there, make sure your name is correct and all the information is correct. And then you can go ahead and start submitting it right through the official Secretary of State website. And once you've done that, you're going to see your official certificate of organization with the Secretary of State's office. And this document right here shows that you have legally recorded your business entity with the New Mexico Secretary of State, which is going to be required for all licensed dealerships, unless you're a sole proprietor or general partnership, but you can still register with that process as well. I'm going to recommend that every dealership go ahead and register with the Secretary of State's office, even if you are a sole proprietor or general partnership, but you would be required as a sole proprietor or general partnership if you're using another business name. So do please keep that in mind. This filing is going to provide a record of the dealership that you're starting with the state. It's going to be required for most dealers. It takes just a few minutes to complete. And if you have any questions, the Secretary of State has answers. So you can call 505-827-3600. I also want you to be aware of a federal law that is now in effect called the Beneficial Ownership Information Law. So Congress has passed what's called the Corporate Transparency Act, which requires all business entities to register with the federal government. So beneficial ownership reporting is required for all domestic business entities. So if you're in the state, if you're in the United States, you have to do this. So, and if you are in another country opening a dealership here, then you have to do this as well. So I want you to be aware. There are some very large companies that are exempt. So if you have 20 or more full-time employees and you're grossing more than $5 million in gross receipts, you're exempt, but I'm just going to assume that's not you for right now. So businesses are required to report their beneficial ownership information within 30 days of any Secretary of State filing. I want to repeat that. Very important information. Businesses must submit their beneficial ownership information within 30 days of registering with the New Mexico Secretary of State. And I want to show you how to do that right now. You're just going to go to boiefiling.finance.gov, .gov. So it's boiefiling.finance.gov. And you'll just click on the Get Started button like you see right there. And then you can just scroll down there. You can either do this by filing a PDF or you can scroll right down and do it online. And I'll always recommend just to go ahead and do it online, and that way you'll get it done. And this takes probably about 2 to 3 minutes at the very most. So you can click on there that you're following your initial steps. It's going to walk you right through that beneficial ownership report. And I want you to be aware, if you do fail to do this, you can be charged $500 per day. So this is a crucial new law that every business needs to be aware of, and all business entities must file that beneficial ownership information report within 30 days after your initial registration with the Secretary of State. Once again, that website is boiefiling.finance.gov. Once again, one more time, contact information, New Mexico Secretary of State, is right there on the screen, and I hope that you are finding this information very helpful.